Hi, I'm Jack Paynter. I graduated in 2011 from Caulfield Grammar School. So I started in 2009, it was year 10. I was a boarder, so if I moved down from a small town called Naya, which has got a population of about 400 people, so boarding was incredible. Kind of liken it to a school camp, just with more freedom, so you got all your mates there. Yeah, great experience, I guess. So I took a gap year after high school. I wasn't quite ready to go to uni yet, so I went over and played cricket in England for 6 months, which was a really cool experience. Just sort of my first experience out of Australia, out of the country, and I was sort of doing it by myself. So that was pretty cool. I had to sort of learn to be self-sufficient, I guess, find my own way. So I spent 6 months over there in northern England playing cricket, made a lot of friends, and being the only Australian player at the club, you kind of have automatic friends anyway, because everyone gravitates to you because you're a bit different. So that was my first year out of school. What I wasn't prepared for was the sort of not having any skills or any background. Like, to be self-sufficient and to get a job, you had to sort of do some manual labour. So I spent some time working on building sites as a labourer. I was working on farms, sort of sorting through. I remember a couple of days I was sorting onions, and they were just really long, draining days, really hard sort of work, and I used to run through Friends episodes in my head to pass the time. So I guess learning to get a job and the hard work involved in that. I think that was sort of the toughest bit of the transition. Is I wanted to be self-sufficient and support myself, because my parents had sort of put me through school. I didn't want to have to lean on them for anything like that. So I guess finding a way to support yourself and get through uni and sort of live paycheck to paycheck was a bit of an experience. Saying that, I probably wouldn't be here where I am today without sort of those lessons I learned from doing that. I think it's just the independence, and you can go two ways, I guess. You can really chase that independence and want to sort of have that freedom to make your own decisions, find your own job, support yourself like that. And I think that was, I guess, how much freedom I could have, especially living overseas. So I'm a cricket journalist, so pretty much my day-to-day role is I cover the domestic competitions in Australia, so the Big Bash League, the Sheffield Shield, the domestic one-day cup. And yeah, so it involves like covering matches, doing match reports, interviewing players after matches, and pretty much telling the story of the experiences of cricketers and connecting them with fans, and ultimately helping to grow the game. Hard to sort of call what I do work at the moment, because I go into sort of my job every day really excited and looking forward to what's going to take place that day. So I think if you can find something that you enjoy and you're passionate about, then you don't really have to work a day in your life, because you're going there excited about what the day is going to bring. So I think that's probably the life lesson that I would take from Caulfield, is just find something that you enjoy and and chase it and make it your passion. So it was probably in year 12. I always sort of had a bit of an interest in writing, but it wasn't until year 12 when I did a subject called International Studies. I had a really good teacher, Gus Humphreys. The whole sort of subject was based around learning about politics and global relations, and all the assessment was writing based. I guess I just fell in love with writing from that subject. And from there, I kind of looked at ways to turn that into a career, like what I could do post-school that involved writing, where I could express creatively, I guess, and tell people stories, and journalism was the one that I settled on. I really enjoy what I do at the moment, and I'd like to think that I've sort of found my area. So whether I'm still doing what I am in 5 to 10 years, I'd hope that maybe progressed a little bit. And the good thing about it is the players they become familiar with you when you work in cricket. Like, you become a familiar face, so you kind of go up with the players. So there's players at the moment who are playing domestic cricket who will, in maybe 5 or 10 years, be playing for Australia. So I'd like to think that the relationships that I've built now will hold me in good stead for 5 to 10 years down the track. That potentially, a bit of travel following the Australian team, reporting on cricket in different parts of the world. I think the big one that sort of helped me along the way was getting experience. So doing the internships, doing as many as you can, because it just gives you that grounding, I guess, and teaches you how to do it. Like you can study. To study is one thing, but to actually do it day in, day out is another thing, and that's where you sort of learn. I'm very much a learn by doing person, so the more I do something, the better I'm going to write, or the more my craft in writing is going to be able to develop. So I think just jumping head first and doing as much as you can, enjoyment and doing something that you're passionate about. It has its trade-offs that because I enjoy it so much, I'm never work a regular 8-hour day. Like there's always something more that I could do. If you find something that you're passionate about and you want to do, you just jump head first into it. If something doesn't quite go your way, there's always other avenues to get to where you want to go. So don't always think that because something didn't happen, you're not going to get to the spot where you are. Like I started off in Dandenong reporting on little crime stories. Never really thought that, at that point I didn't really want to be a cricket journalist, but eventually over time I just developed my passion and always had an interest in cricket. The right opportunity presented at the right time. So if you have a goal, there's no one path to get there. There's many different paths to get to the same point.